Thames in a rowing skiff. Rory, Dara, Welshman, Griff, and a dog that really is scared stiff of every little wave. We can't pitch tents or read a map, but we can drink beer and talk some crap while Jerome K. Jerome is turning in his grave. But Jerome K. Jerome is turning in his grave.
In the last programme, we set off to recreate the journey made by Jerome K. Jerome and his two best friends in the 1889 literary classic 3 Men in a Boat. When the book was published, the River Thames had become a playground for London's swells, and it became an instant bestseller. 4 days ago, the three of us and a dog set off to row from Kingston to Oxford. Now, halfway through our week-long trip, we've covered just over half of the 96 miles and have managed a few adventures of our own. We'd learned the fine art of camping.
I'm making blackened eggs with bacon scrapings.
Can I have talk some bollocks first thing in the morning, Griff?
The dog and I began to bond.
We're going to go on the boat. No, come on, in the boat. Good girl.
Griff had reviewed all the important monuments.
Hey, what did you say, Doctor? Last thing I said. Can you repeat that, Doctor?
Which gave us plenty of time for philosophical discussion. Which is your favourite Teletubby?
I've never had a strong opinion on them, to be honest.
I used to be very tinky-winky, but I think I'm coming around to your view now.
Yes, please.
Then, on our third evening, although I'd gone to the trouble of cooking coq au vin al fresco, Rory and Dara abandoned me for a gourmet menu and a couple of comfy beds at a nearby pub.
There are only 2 rooms left. Good news for 2 people. Bad news for 3 people.
Are you just saying that you're not going to come back?
You are so lucky not to be here with us.
Bastards. Now, as it happens, I don't harbour grudges, but being marooned by your mates is hardly in the spirit of 3 men in a boat. So I hitched a lift to the pub, where Dara grudgingly shared his bed. Rory, after Herculean efforts, had finally pulled.
Over the years, I've been in bed with Brenda Blethyn.
Right.
Very nice. I've been in bed with Geraldine James.
Do you know?
Do you know Geraldine
I do
James?
know
She's
Geraldine.
a very, very lovely
Yeah.
Geraldine.
With Mel Smith, I presume.
And with Mel Smith. But Geraldine James having... well, I've snogged with Mel, which I've only had serious sex with anybody, and that was Mel, you know, with the business when he's really disgusting. People used to say to me afterwards, though, how could you do it? You know, as if for Mel, somehow, the thing might have been quite exciting. I never quite understood that.
You're clearly out of Mel's league. That's
Exactly.
the thing. Mel was going, I've done well here.
From here at Sonning, we have another 40 miles to go on our epic journey to Oxford, which will take us in the region of 4 years, unless our rowing improves.
Can you put a camera, just for a second, on this rowing? Rory sort of goes... Make up your mind, Rory. In or out? You sort of row in fits and starts.
Sometimes I row slowly, sometimes I row
No, that's
fast.
okay.
But what is wrong with you?
I know.
Get a life.
Look at the size of that man's rod.
Oh, French horn.
That's the biggest fishing
You don't
rod
want
I've
them?
ever seen.
Are you slightly embarrassed to be sitting next to him with his big rod?
Oh, I see. That's right.
Yeah, we've
It's
all
just
got
not
one.
fully extended at the moment.
Go get it out. Flop it over the bank.
Now, I get the impression we're passing close to Reading now.
Yeah, we're coming up to Reading.
Because it's suddenly we're turning into an industrial landscape.
I think Jerome has something rather sarcastic to say about Reading.
Yeah, he wasn't fond of it. This is even like 115 years ago. Chapter 16. We came in sight of Reading about 11. The river is dirty and dismal here. One does not linger in the neighbourhood of Reading. But to be fair, earlier on he says, even Reading, though it does its best to spoil and sully and make hideous as much of the river as it can reach, is good-natured enough to keep its ugly face a good deal out of sight.
Super.
So we're going to get out and go for a walk in Reading, probably.
What, look for the hideous, ugly face of Reading?
Can we go over to speed it up film? Like Benny Hill, right?
In In an attempt to culturally distance itself from Jerome's cutting remarks, we find that Venetian-style shopping has been introduced on the Thames, a waterfront Tesco's. And moored right outside is a throwback to the good old days of the Thames, and a very rare sight, an old Humber keel that's been converted into a floating home.
You've actually come and parked your home, because Tesco now do home deliveries.
Yeah.
But you don't do that, you do the opposite. You actually bring your home and deliver it to Tesco.
Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? Yeah.
No added sugar and it's Caribbean style. Oh,
You're
yes.
not from round here, are you?
No. Are you either?
No, I'm off the river. I'm a boat gypsy.
Oh, fabulous.
You live in what was essentially the Holds.
Yeah.
But do they still have the little sort of forecastle where they would have originally lived?
The forecastle is in a pretty poor condition, but the cabin, the skipper's cabin, is still there.
Can we have a look?
Yes, of course.
Before the railways really got going in the mid-1800s, the Thames had been an industrial highway. It was not an uncommon sight to see barges laden with wood and coal groaning their way to London. The hold in this boat, before being converted to a living room, would have been packed with grain.
Oh my God!
Talk about, isn't it? Talk about enough room to swing a cat.
It's just so spacious.
Well, you know, when we're saying there's none of this clutter around, you've got to live
Yes.
fairly simply, because when we crossed the wash, coming back from the Humber, this table just somersaulted across the room.
So she does bounce about.
Oh, yes.
There she is, look, saying again, look like a Viking longship.
She's on the Humber there. That's when we took her
Yeah.
back to trace her roots. We sailed with the other one. That's the two of them. They're the only two in the world.
Can we see where the skipper would really live?
Yeah.
This is just nookery and cosy. I come down here and all I can think of is Ratty and Moley and the sort of, you know, here we are in a little cosy, and all these wonderful little cupboards. It's like
It's great.
Inside a sort of Chinese box.
Oh,
but when you go to
yeah.
bed, you can actually sort of, darling, I'm just closing us in here and we'll be nice and safe.
And the lantern above is filling the clock.
She's what's called Sheffield-sized. The locks, she fits in exactly up there. That's the size that they're built for.
I'm intrigued by the term Sheffield size. I think Rory is Sheffield size.
Yeah. He's the maximum capacity he can be. Danger to shipping, Rory McGrath.
Heaven. Heaven is a bacon roll.
As pleasure boating took over from industrial use on the Thames, steam launches became the next big business. As their popularity peaked, so did the complaints. Launch owners were regularly summoned for misdemeanours ranging from blowing the whistle to the annoyance of the public to running down the occupants of a small boat. But it was speeding that was the most common occurrence, an offence which today is largely the domain of the cabin cruiser or gin palace. Still, just as in Jerome's time, powered vessels have their advantages.
Wow, Gin Palace.
Good morning. Any chance of a lift?
What?
Can you give us a lift?
A lift?
Yeah,
A tow.
All right, okay. Yes, we can give you one.
top man.
Can you row up?
Yes,
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can actually.
Oh, my God.
Oh my God!
Hey!
Griff.
No! I can't hold her, Captain! I can't hold her! We're going under! We're going to be towed along backwards!
No, we'll turn it round. We'll turn it round, come on.
Coming on, so beautifully done. Dara.
Listen, I'll stay here with the dogs.
I'm
Somebody
doing
has to stay on board
this
with...
is-
I'll look at you and your drinks.
It's lovely and warm.
Hang on, let me get it. Here we are.
Well, I'll take the bottle.
That's a good idea.
It's all going wonderfully well. Down we get. Lovely.
There we go.
Griff, you can.
Oh, I'd love to have a go.
Go on, please.
All right,
Here we
let's
go.
see what the little lady does.
All right,
Go.
Is anything happening?
Yep.
Oh, I see. There we go. Terrific.
Straight off the back of the boat, Dara goes.
It'd be typical of the two lads. We spent the entire trip basically giving out about gin palaces. But the minute they come along and offer a tow, oh, champagne, we're delighted to be involved in the whole thing. I've retained my integrity here on the boat, me and the dog.
Can I ask you something?
Please.
A little bit. I think this is a bit personal, but
Very well.
is this what they call a gin palace?
Gin Palace. Gin Palace. The sweep of the line, the proud bow.
I think. All right. No,
I mean,
it's
I
not.
can't, but
No, we quite understand. It's not.
mortally hurt.
It's not a gin palace. So what's the difference then between this, which is clearly a yacht, and a gin palace?
Clearly,
Yeah.
This is steel. Good Dutch steel.
Is it?
Dutch steel.
Right.
yes. And the gin palaces tend to be made of
Yes.